Hey guys, welcome to this week's Restoration Revelations. We're gonna have fun. We're gonna be talking about a mop and glow. Guys, you gotta be really careful when you buy a car off the internet, off the web. Know the shop you're getting it from, because this week I'm gonna show you the difference between a mop and glow and what it takes to do a real restoration. We're doing a really cool Mustang, I'll show you. This is the paint going on it. 1,600 smackaroos for a gallon of paint. And that ain't even getting started. Come on, this week's gonna be fun. Like, subscribe, follow along. It's gonna be a good week. Let's get going. This is typically what people do on a mop and glow car. If you open the hood and you see all the fresh paint on the motor, new hoses, that kind of stuff, lots of times it's a tell for a car that's been poised just to sell, because you can put a picture of this car on the internet and it looks great from far. And when you get close, it's far from great. Let me explain to you what a mop and glow is. Stay with me for a second. Typically people will get a car that has bubbles and has some rust and that kind of stuff, and they'll take it and they'll knock all the bubbles and the icky stuff down with a DA and 320 grit sandpaper, and they just plow through it. And then they'll throw some sealer on top of the car as they tape off every little thing. They'll go around and tape. You don't take anything apart because it takes a long time. And then they'll fill all that stuff in, and then they'll shoot it, typically with like a, what's the word I'm looking for? An enamel. It's a one-stage enamel, so it's not a base coat, clear coat. It's something that you just throw down on it, and that way it's really, really fast and it's very inexpensive. It's not $1,600 a gallon, let me tell you. Here's another place to look. Always, ouch, fiberglass. Seriously, really? Got a bleeder. Anyways, right down here where the inner quarter meets the quarter itself, this is a very big tell when there's been kind of sloppy bodywork. So if you look at a car and you see popping and you see cracking and you see that kind of stuff, it's not gonna stop. It doesn't matter. You can whack it and pack it all you want. It's not gonna get any better. I'm gonna show you a 1970 Chevelle gray one real quick, come on. This was definitely not a mop and glow. The details along here all look great. They took it apart and did a nice job. However, it's not a real high-end paint, and it's not a high-end clear, and it doesn't have the depth that he wants. This is his forever car. He's never gonna sell this car. He never wants to get rid of this car, and he wants to have something that's just spectacular. And I'm gonna show you exactly how you do a spectacular restorations. When you pay 1,600 bucks for a gallon of paint and you put it on right, that's what it looks like. So what we do is we rip the whole car down, we put the drive line in it, we figure out the suspension, the wheel size, the transmission, everything is prefab, and then it goes to the body shop and it does all the body work, it comes back together, lined up, straight and perfect. Then we'll go ahead and shoot the car, and it comes back out to get finish wired. It goes back in for paint correction, and we'll tidy all that car up. It'll be ready and done. This car is gorgeous, but the process is a lot. Let's go over the Corvette really quick. Kevin, you've been living in there for about a week.
Yes, I have.
Look, seriously, I think he's got a pillow. Let's go look at the 67 Corvette. Same situation. It's been through body, it's been through paint. We pre-built it all. It's got an LS7 motor in it. So it's a beautiful car. You know, it's got a 5-speed transmission, the vintage air, all the computer, everything else has to be pre-made, and then you wire it all up, and then it goes back to the body shop. Beautiful paint work, but as you can see, all the trim has been off of this car. That's the way you do. Bumpers come off, everything else. You don't tape anything off and paint it. It just doesn't work that way. I'm carrying this around like it's my little present. Come on, let's go to the body shop. So we're a big PPG house. We shoot both water and solvent-based stuff. We try to focus on the solvent-based on the older cars. Did you know that when you shoot a car with water, you actually still shoot a solvent clear over the top of it? So every car, even when it's shot with water, has solvent on it. The reason people like clear is it's very thin and the color matching is better. However, with these older hot rods, putting the solvent-based paint over anything else that's been on it, it's kind of easier to work with it and match it, the texture, etc. But anyways, we focus on solvent-based paint, and this is the mixing room, so we can make anything you want. You just put the formula in the computer and it tells you what to do. It's kind of cool. Come on guys, let's take a look at the Mustang we just shot. It's still in the booth. I'm gonna have the guys pull it out after lunch and we'll go over it in detail. But let's take a look in the window, like peering, like looking for Santa Claus. This is definitely not a mop and glow. Remember what I told you about a mop and glow. 320, bang in the rust, sand off the bubbles, put some Bondo on it, tape off the trim, and shoot it. You got yourself a paint job. This ain't nothing like it. Let me tell you where you gotta start if you want a paint job that's gonna last a lifetime. The car has all the components stripped out of it. The engine, transmission, the glass, front, rear, door glass, all the trim and details come off of it. Now you go after your rust repair or panel replacement at that point in time. In this car, we actually replaced the rear quarter panel on the right and did some work on the trunk. The rest of the car was actually pretty darn solid, so we got kind of lucky with this one, so it didn't get that extensive. Where it does get wonky is after you put all the steel on it. A lot of people think it's time to start slapping Bondo on it. It's not. You got to have it all sealed up with a boxy sealer, and you straighten and align all your doors before you do any paint work on it. So now you got a steel car that's really aligned up, and then if you're going to have any problems, you'll know at that point in time, do you want to address it in steel? Do you want to shim the door? How are you going to set those fenders? So the hood's on it, the rear deck lid's on it, the doors are on it, the headlight buckets that I just showed you are on it. And one more thing has to happen first. We'll actually take a suspension and put it back in the car because we've painted it, handled it, did what we did, and we actually welded it to get it all snug as a bug in a rug set up on the car. The body work starts with doing body filler. We skim the whole car with body filler, and then we block it and block it and block it. You block it with 180, you block it with 320. You keep going all the way up to blocking it up to 600. That's the grit of the sandpaper that you use. So you walk it through each one of those steps. But in between steps, you'll use a guide code on it to actually see if it's actually, going to be really straight or not. Now you're ready to actually think about painting it. So you see these gorgeous stripes we put, these scallops? The reason you got to hang these doors on here is you have to make sure that your scallops and stripes are going to match. So not only do you have this edge to contend with the fit of the door, but you actually got to make sure that these stripes are going to lay in together. So it's a nice little puzzle that you go through to make it actually beautiful. So as you see, we paint the orange on the side of it. That's the base coat. And then we threw a little clear on it. One thing too, never shoot over fresh clear without at least scuffing it down first. You want to scuff that car down so it's going to stick real nice to it. It's not a good idea to shoot new clear coat over fresh clear coat unless you do it in the window when it's flashing, or you got to scuff it a little bit. Anyways, getting too technical on you. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get that thing back in the booth, and we're going to go ahead and shoot it with the black now. Everything's been masked 3 times. And then when it gets the black on it, the orange on it, everything basically comes off of it because we clear it all at the same time. She looks gorgeous, doesn't she? Now, a lot of guys would stop at this point in time. And if you saw this car on a car lot, you'd be like, wow, that's awesome. It ain't done yet. This thing has to be wet sanded and buffed. Believe it or not, we start with 1,000 grit, go to 1,500, go to 3,000 on a wet sand before we even put a buffer on it. We're a bit nuts. But if you want to build a quality product, you got to put the labor in, you got to put the effort into it. It's a lot of work. Guys, now I hope you can understand the difference between a mop and glow, or when you see something on the internet, fresh paint, it's this, it's that. Be careful about what you get, because to do a car like this, it takes a lot of work. And I don't think you can do it in one episode like a car show typically does. It takes a lot of guys and it takes a lot of effort. Anyways, speaking about taking a lot of effort, one of my favorite things to do is do a little Bible study with you guys at the end. And I'm going to show you something that I think is really cool about putting in the extra effort when it really comes down to what is important to you. Love the cars, but there's more to this world than just a pretty car. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, Restoration Revelations. I always like to end it up with a little bit of Bible study. And the reason I do the Bible study is I started a Bible study right here in this shop about 6 years ago. Some guys and we get together, and we've been doing it for literally 6 years, and it's changed my life. So I just want to encourage you guys, if you have friends or you get a Bible, read the Bible, spend a little time, thinking about, there's so much knowledge and wisdom in this book. It's crazy. And this week in my Bible study, we read something that kind of outlines like what the Bible's kind of all about. And let's read in the book of Hebrews. And no, it's not a coffee shop. It's actually a book of the Bible, New Testament, that actually nobody knows who really wrote it. Anyways, I love this message. It's Hebrews 4:12. If you're a believer, you might have heard this before, but let's just do our little Bible study together. You ready? For the Word of God is living and active. The Word of God. This is what believers or Christians will say. It's the Word of God, the Bible, right? The Word of God is living and active, sharper than any double-edged sword. It penetrates even the divining of soul and spirit, joints and marrow. It judges the thoughts and the attitudes of the heart. Nothing in all creation is hidden from God's sight. Everything is uncovered and laid bare before the eyes of Him who we must give an account. once it's painted, you never can tell, right? That's what I say. We tease around the shop a lot about the cars that come in. Hey man, you'll never be able to tell after it's painted, but God really does know everything, and he loves you, man. He sent his son to die for you. His name is Jesus. You ever heard of him? On a cross to pay for sins. You guys can have a much better life if you have some faith, some hope, and some love in it. Anyways, I encourage you to get a Bible, read it, share it with your friends. Do it at work, it's okay. Just, soak it in. It's a good thing. It's a wholesome thing. It's a way to have a balance in your life that's different than a lot of other people have, and peace in your heart. That's a big deal. We're coming up on Christmas. Oh, we're going there. Oh yeah, the big guy's birthday. All right, thanks for joining. Like, follow, subscribe, do that stuff. And if you got any information you want to send our way in the comments, tell me what you think, or tell me if you think I'm nuts. I've covered a lot of ground this week. It's been fun. All right, God bless you. See ya. Peace out.